So we're here in Mykonos with one of the people I most respect and admire.
Oh wait, people.
That's not a people.
The Doge.
It's the Doge.
Those are Doge.
And it's been very heartening for me that you are on board with Doge consciousness, reverence for the irreverent, the notion that silliness is next to godliness and perfect expression is paramount. And within that beautiful face, that beautiful little meme, we have perfect expression. We have a divine avatar and teacher. And I think it encapsulates all we need to heal the world. And we're going to chat about that today.
So what I see, I mean, first of all, to have, like, I came from 15 years of the yoga tradition and being in the ranks of gurus and things like that. And so I have a personal resistance now as an ex-yogi to the idea of a guru. I do see as a guru can serve certain people, to have that person who's kind of like your authority and your coach, your ultimate coach or your master, though as we know, the true guru is within, right? The true God is within. And so the important part about the Doge as an icon is that it's of course not a human. I myself have always been utterly compelled by canines. And I do think that there's a tremendous amount of godliness in them, that they live in this between the human and animal world, because of course they are nothing but a product of humans themselves. We've made dogs, we've created this whole species. It simply, of course, in the wild was a wolf, or a type of dog. Like I was just in South Africa where there's a painted dog, a wild painted dog, and yet the quality of dogs today have been fully disempowered by their domestication, much like humans today. And so they are indeed a species that relies on us, and yet they skirt and they live between these two worlds of the animal kingdom, of course, and the human kingdom. I'm sure that you have dogs out there who are very human in essence, right? They have a sentiment of knowing. Like I was raised with a miniature poodle, and poodles are smarter than a lot of other dogs, it's been studied. And they come with like this awareness. The poodle studies, all right, we'll link to the poodle studies below. This awareness of, like, when we come home from vacation and we left her, she would go to the other side of the room, sit with her back to us, and sometimes look over her shoulder like that. Right? Like what is that? I mean, I would love to say that that's normal canine behavior, but they have feelings just like us. And there are a lot of researchers doing amazing work on this. And so in general, the Doge, of course, speaks as a ridiculous Shiba Inu and just a dog. But in that gaze, there's a certain quality of naivety, innocence, and knowing. Right? There's a simplicity to life. There's a reminder and an understanding that all life is indeed play, that all we have to do is be fed, be loved, taken care of, and rough around sometimes, and enjoy. And so, to me, the Doge is expressing that of like, really? Like if your dog or your cat has ever looked at you in your human misery and had that expression of, really? It's like, stop taking life so seriously. That's definitely a part of it, which is part of the DDP's mission, which is part of the revolution in decentralization, of the entire idea of centralized power is that it's running on fear. Of course, the person with power is trying to keep the power at all times. And I mean, this is a very animalistic tendency, again, coming from Africa, being in the wild, seeing that the ruler of any tribe, whether it's an impala, which is like a deer kind of thing, or whether it's a lion, that head figure, that king, needs to always have their sympathetic nervous system stress response active, because they're always trying to maintain their pedestal of kingship, right? And they're always trying to make sure no one else can come in, right? This is reminding me of Donald Trump, as non-political as I want to be. But that quality of like othering, right? It's exclusion rather than radical inclusion. And that quality of just dividing oneself rather than connecting and collaborating. And what Lachance is about, what the revolution in decentralization is about everyone taking their own radical self-reliance and self-responsibility, self-governance, as we're going to be talking about in Mykonos, and doing our self-work to embrace the Doge consciousness, to be like, okay, how can I show up this way? Not just have these ideas, but how can I practice it in my everyday life? And it's not fucking easy. Because we've all been programmed by a society that is centralized. We've been programmed in a way to perceive the world that is run off of fear. And so we're running all of these programmings and these stories and these disempowering mantras in our head at all times without knowing it. And so, of course, like a godhead, a reminder, a figure that will always bring you back to that place of, like, God, you're cute and you're knowing and I want to be more like you.
It's also worth noting that the Doge is a female.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And the decentralization revolution, it's been speculated,
Is female.
a return to the feminine.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Because what does the feminine do? It comes together in circles to breastfeed together, to raise kids together, right?
It's not hierarchical, or not as hierarchical.
There are definitely matriarchal societies, but it's inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not exclusive. It knows that the more, the better, the more loving. Yeah,
Collaboration
so collaboration.
rather
is
than competition.
everything. That was
Openness.
on my 21st birthday, I think. Or
Vulnerability.
before that, I said, you know what? I'm done with competition. I embrace collaboration. Openness. Vulnerability. Yes. I mean, that's where things come from. Like right now, how can we be vulnerable in this moment? Let's practice it rather than just say it.
I could take off my sunglasses again.
How does that make you feel when you're seen?
It's very bright. I used to not like it. I used to wear the sunglasses so I could hide my eyes because I thought it was uncomfortable to speak in front of people and make eye contact. But that fear is mostly conquered now. How's that?
It's okay, but you did what I do when I become vulnerable. You say how then you're at the end, you're actually not vulnerable. That's a shadow of mine, so can I be vulnerable by exposing my shadows? I mean, being vulnerable is hard, but like being vulnerable is coming into a space where it's uncomfortable, where you don't want to show parts of yourself to people. You hide things with shame. And the work of self-discovery and the work of self-polishing and self-mastery and the work of embracing Doge consciousness and becoming this way is having nothing to hide. Like a dog will go and poop anywhere, anytime. Right? It's like there's nothing to hide. You mentioned the other day your fondness for dogs sniffing one another's bums.
Fondness.
Fondness.
That wasn't a fondness.
No? What was
No. I think it was something about a lack of culture. Just responding to base impulses.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
See, I think of it as like fuck it, I'm gonna sniff your bum. There's no boundaries. It's like an honesty. It's a quality of honesty.
I thought you were
coming
into
this world.
consent.
I'm totally into consent. You're right. There's some contradicting
What's at
messages.
What's
being
at the
sent
root
here.
of this contradiction?
Well, it depends on where the consent is coming from, because like if it's coming from someone unbridling personal space for their own power gain or kind of like a sex gain, then that's where consent's really, really powerful. But if we are already in Doge consciousness, if we are already a Doge, then there's no need for consent. Does that make sense? It's like, I'm only going to go sniff your butt if it's at the best interest of everyone. And most dogs are okay having their butt sniffed. It's like a communal consensus. So I mean, we're talking about a different culture, so I guess I can't fully draw that analogy, but hopefully those of you out there who are intellectually agile enough to follow me there came in your pants.
Excuse me? I'm trying to make this inclusive.
The women as well can come in the pants.
Can they?
When they see this, of course.
That means you. Cut. But, wait. Do you realize that Doge spelled backwards is egod? That's a question directed at you.
E-God, as in like the electronic god? Or as in like ego D?
That is the first time that's been speculated.
What?
Ego D? Ego death?
Ego death or like egoed? I'm like beyond that. I'm outside
I
of
think
that.
it's ego death.
Okay, I'm up
What a
for that.
revelation. It's so bright. Is that our egos
Our white
leaving
balance.
our bodies?
Our white balance! Our egos are leaving our bodies! That was amazing. That felt really good. No, see, that's fucking
Magic is
bullshit
happening.
spiritual materialism. We still have work to do. We're humans. We're still embodied. Everyone's still in a body, has work to do. And it's a matter of if we're fucking doing that work or not. Like, what are you working on today that will bring more of this presence into your life?
Yeah. I'm really stoked that you're on board with this.
Oh, that wasn't over?
That's what she said.
Oh, God. We did not say that. We are not sleeping together. All sexual innuendos only remain with me and my fiery water warrior god
It's true.
princess.
I traveled all the way to Bali on a one-way ticket just to come see you and learn from you. And the desire to get naked together was not a factor in that decision.
Good. I have a hard time
As I-
believing you. Okay.
Really?
That's my own shadows and my own history with men.
Well, did I try to?
No. I will try to see you rather than
I'm
try to see
very doji.
all the past men.
I'm just seeking to
You do kind of look like the Doge.
become a doge. Side eye.
Do they look alike? Practice your side eye.
I can't even open my eye to make it a side eye. Yeah, I'm very glad to be here with you and this conference and a lot of Doge-like individuals,
Bring them on.
and to be spreading this awareness and elevating our potential to heal the world.
So how can we invest in
With a
Doge
watchful eye.
coin to make that this is the monetary structure of the world? Tell me.
I think first we need to be inspired, so
Okay.
having everyone possible realizing that an investment in Dogecoin is an investment in our collective future. And I do believe wholeheartedly, no sarcasm, that only united under this face can we heal the world and elevate our species. And that's why we just created an entire Dogecoin for 4 days in Vancouver, and why I personally have been the most vociferous advocate for this little gal since we first met in 2013. So, buy Dogecoin,
So
please.
one thing there, when you say that it's the only way, I never want to limit humanity or what can happen. I think that's coming from our mind and our ego. And yet, Doge is perhaps one of the only egoless coins, in that what the coin backs is indeed benevolence for all. And so there's a difference there. It's not that it's the only one. It's that there are a multitude of ways that this world could wake up and become conscious. And yet, one of the most, let's say, applicable, immediate ways that you can do this is through Doge. Does that fit?
Yes,
Is that fair?
very fair. I like it.
Is that what the Doge would have said?
Was it said post-ego death from your lips?
Yeah,
Then yes.
I think.
No ego in there?
An ego of a desire to keep things fair or possible. An ego of like wanting you to maintain your mindful, conscious awareness at all times. But I don't have a coin that I'm trying to push. It's not lower ego. It would be like incarnate. But that's the thing. That's the thing about ego. Like, and even ego death is a bit of spiritual materialism, Gary. Because if we're still living in a human body, we have egos. And so it's not about fighting those egos. It's about learning how to polish them and sharpen them and know them inside and out so that they no longer lead or play tricks on us. And rather we can deeply know ourselves. That's truly what yoga is self-knowing. And use the tools that we've been given in this lifetime to expand and uplift.
Couldn't have said it better. My immaterial self.
Your immaterial self wouldn't have said anything at all. Everything that comes through our lips is ego. So actually, yes, it was ego.
It was a really good joke, too.
Oh, I don't get your jokes, Gary.
We're working on it. We can both practice mindfulness. But yeah, it's great to be out here and have you as my guru.
I am your guru! No, I'm not your guru. And the Doge is also an avatar. I like that better than a guru.
Yeah.
Because it has no teachings except for silence, which are the ultimate real teachings.
Yeah, if you Google avatar, the word just came to me, but this is the avatar for this movement, at least the one I'm enlisted in. The definition of avatar is an incarnate divine teacher.